But like for the most part, these fringe guys, I start getting rid of the players who the question in my mind is if I got to ask if I can start you, most of the time you're not worth the spot at this point of the season, unless I need you for week 14. If you're a guy that I'm like, do I want to start you? And most of the time the answer is no. If I can't start you, you got to go. Or I'll let that be a question mark for somebody's team. We talked about it with Waddle like last week, and we talked about it, hey, if he gets to the end of the season and he's still not performing, but like there's players out there who every week we're asking like, yo, do we got to start them? I think it's time to like start assessing, do we cut these players now? We mentioned a couple of them already. I want to give you a few names, and I want to just kind of talk about if you're keeping this player or you're cutting this player. The first one I mentioned already, Travis Etienne. The Jaguars are coming off a bye. We're not sure if we're getting Trevor Lawrence back. This is a player we drafted in the, I don't know, not we, but that was drafted in the top 4 rounds of drafts, going as a top 15 back. And lately we've got like 0 out of him. We got damn near nothing out of him. Tank Bigsby's looked the part at times. He's been banged up as of late, but coming off the bye, potentially getting Trevor Lawrence back, this Jacksonville team, Doug Peterson's kind of coaching for his future here. You think Travis Etienne is a hold or a cut right now?
I would hold it. I would hold him. And I want to go back and one guy, Rico Dowdle, I would hold Rico too. Yeah. Just because he is seeing volume. But I would personally hold Travis. I guess it depends on like who's available. Maybe if a guy, like the only guy that I would feel okay is like a Blake Corum. I just look at him once again. The upside is massive if something happens with Kyron. I don't see that way. But if like those kind of guys are gone, then I probably would just hold Travis Etienne.
So this is the problem for me is Travis Etienne is the kind of player like I would never start. I'm not starting him this week. I would be very hard pressed to start him next week unless he just came out and was like 20 touches.
Well, that's what I would.
Especially if it was a 50-50 split with Tank Bigsby. So I'm like,
I would hold to see this week.
Personally. Okay, but now he gets the same workload. Say he gets 12 carries and 12 touches, and we're back to the same shit. He's scoring under double digits. I'm just like, for me, that's a tough player to even hold right now. Like it really is. And I think the only saving grace would be like if I knew somebody during week 14 was struggling with running back issues. Like they didn't have no running backs. So like, cause week 12 was kind of massive for running backs, I would say. But week 14, if you were struggling with like, yo, I don't have nobody to play, Joe Mixon's out, I don't want to leave Travis Etienne for somebody. But other than that, like I don't really see a need to hold Travis Etienne. He's terrible. And to be honest, I'd rather have Tank Bigsby right now than Travis Etienne.
If it's full point PPR, I'd rather still have Travis.
Still?
Yeah.
And what makes you say that?
Because Tank Bigsby doesn't catch passes. Like Travis Etienne will be this team's receiving back. He was also coming off injury. And last time we saw this offense, Mac Jones was out there.
Yeah.
They got blown out by like 50 points. That game was over in like the second quarter. So I don't, and they play Houston this week. Houston to me has been very iffy. I think this game, if Trevor Lawrence is playing, I think this game could be a little bit closer. I think Travis Etienne will see work. I think he'll see work in the passing game. He's a decent receiving back when he's healthy. And I think he could potentially be like a 60-40 split. And I think that's valuable. Even during bye weeks, that could be valuable.
I just look at Etienne and I look at the game log, and we have no games over 15 points. We have, the workload started to increase, but that was when Tank Bigsby was out. And over the last 2 weeks, I know, or the 2 weeks before the bye, I know that Mac Jones is a starter. But it's ugly. It's ugly. Like, and I don't see a world where like I would want to start him on a weekly basis. To be honest, I probably would just cut him. The schedule doesn't look good. I would just cut Travis Etienne, bro, and find some. I would rather have you talking about like a Trey Benson. I'd rather have a Trey Benson than a Travis Etienne right now.
Okay. So first you said though that you would cut him, and there's like week 14 because week 14 still exists. So if you're a team that's fighting to get into the playoffs, and we don't know as of right now, but all right, say it's week 14. Pretend this is week 14. Would you rather start a guy like one of the top waiver wire ads this week? Now, say you didn't land McNichols, your guy, Dontavian Wicks, will be one of the top ads this week because Romeo Doubs is out. Are you starting Dontavian Wicks over a guy like Travis Etienne.
I'm probably finding somebody else. I'm starting somebody else with more upside than Travis Etienne. Etienne don't have no upside to me. I'd rather just get a receiver. You're right, though. I'd rather go get a receiver. To be honest, I'd rather look at like a Devon Vele than the Travis Etienne right now in my starting lineup. Like, I'd rather just have the upside of like you can catch 5 passes and potentially.
But I think that's pretty close. Like if you look at Travis Etienne early season, now obviously later season it has been that great, but you had Trevor Lawrence get hurt right when he came back, and he was banged up. But early season, he's getting right around 10 points, 13 points. I mean, that's what Devon Vele is getting you.
I'll chase the upside with Vele. Like at least there's upside there with Etienne. What's the upside? The upside you're probably gonna lose your job.
Touchdown.
You're probably gonna lose your job with Tank Bigsby. That's the upside right now.
He would have already lost his job if that was the case. He hasn't lost his job. He's been on the plus side of the committee. I don't think I would cut. I don't think I would cut Travis Etienne yet. I would wait this week, kind of see what it plays out. If Trevor Lawrence is,
I'd rather have Nick Westbrook-Akine over damn near.
I mean, he could be a streamable option. I would just wait another week, see if Trevor plays this week, and kind of, he's slated to practice. It looks like he's going to play this week, so I would wait to see what this offense looks like.
Another tough player right now is Ramondre Stevenson. What's going on with Stevenson, man? Because it's like every time we start to believe in Ramondre Stevenson, he gives us a reason to doubt. And it's like, we get a 20-point game, then we get a single-digit game. And they also have the bye coming up in week 14. Are you keeping Ramondre Stevenson? You benching him? I
would bench him. I wouldn't be cutting him.
Players, bro.
Like, because we look at it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3 of the past 5 weeks, he's had over 20 touches. Like, that's not somebody. Yeah, last week was really frustrating, but it's just, especially like if you're a team that's looking to make the playoffs, sure, a guy like Trey Benson, if James Conner were to go down, has more upside than a Ramondre Stevenson. But there could be a chance where, once again, he doesn't. Like, James Conner doesn't get hurt. But then you're in the fantasy playoffs and you're in a crunch.
Yeah.
Or you're in a pinch because your starting running back is going to miss this week because he hurt his ankle the week prior. I would much rather feel a lot more confident than playing Ramondre, even though it's been kind of hit or miss, because you could get the week where he has, the 20 carries for 48 yards and 2 touchdowns. Like, that's a possibility with Ramondre, and not a whole lot of people on the waiver wire is going to give you that kind of upside. So I would just hold on to him, especially if I'm a contender. Now, it becomes really interesting if you're fighting to get into the playoffs, sure, and it's week 14 and you need to start somebody. I would be okay week 14 cutting him if I have to get somebody in my starting lineup to win. Sure, that's when I think it becomes all right. I'm okay with cutting my losses here, getting somebody that's going to actually give me points this week. But this week, I personally want it.
Yeah, it's a little too early for I think for Ramondre Stevenson, because he's a player that he can help your lineup. And I know there's a week 14 bye and it's probably a tough start. This is one of those players though, like if you think you can make the playoffs, you got to hold him. See what this week looks like. I would say this though, it's a tough player to leave on your bench for 2 straight weeks. Like if you're not going to start him this week and in 14, that's a tough player, because I don't know that I would want to start him this week, even if they're going up against any this week. I don't know that I'd want to start Ramondre Stevenson. What about this player? Instead of it being let's stick to the cuts. Let's stick to the cuts, because then I have one more. Let's stick to the cuts real quick. What about Michael Pittman? And Michael Pittman's a player who has a week 14 bye. Probably most people aren't depending on him right now. Has looked okay with Anthony Richardson. Are you getting rid of Michael Pittman, who we took? I was really high on Michael Pittman coming into this year, but it might be time to part ways when it comes to his value.
Yeah, he's really tough too, because these are tough situations. All right, if a Blake Corum was out there and like my wide receiver core is fine, then yeah, I don't really give a shit. I'm not starting Michael Pittman. I want to feel confident starting Michael Pittman. Did they already have their bye week? I don't know.
They have their bye next week, and he played decent, you know what I'm saying, with A-Rich, but we haven't seen that. Like, he's basically been a wide receiver 3 at best.
And he has a week 14 bye.
And they have a week 14 bye.
Yeah, so
you're probably not starting him confidently this week.
You're probably not starting him this week. And once again, if my wide receiver core is fine and I'm not like in a 3 wide receiver league, maybe I'm in a 3 wide receiver league and my wide receivers are like, I have 5 good wide receivers and then Michael Pittman, I'm okay. Like if he's my wide receiver 5 and say like once again, I keep saying him, but like Blake Corum, somebody like that is out there. I'm okay with just dropping him and picking because I'm probably not starting Michael Pittman this week anyways, and then you're definitely not starting him the week after. And like once you get in the playoffs, maybe you're in a pinch once again. You need to start somebody, but I think a guy you mentioned earlier, Nick Westbrook Akine, could give you a touchdown kind of game. So
Yeah.
if there's a guy on the waivers like that, a high end premium handcuff running back, maybe just because, and especially if I'm a team that's fighting to get in the playoffs and I can't even start in week 14, then I think I'd be okay with it.
I think that's the hard part right now, is especially with the players who have been, even if they played well, if they've been inconsistent, that's a tough player to like hinge your fantasy playoff hopes on, and then they have a bye as well. So I know it's going to be one of the more difficult things to do here over the next couple of weeks, but it's like that's kind of the thought process: is can this player help me right now, or are they going to hurt my team if I start?
A guy like if Gus Edwards, he's available in 26% of leagues. He's rostered in 26% of leagues. Like if he's available, I would drop Michael Pittman for him if my wide receiver is good. Just because what if JK's I don't know, fucking tore his meniscus or something like that. Now he's out for the rest of the regular season. Like that, Gus Edwards becomes the RB1. That's valuable, especially on this offense.
Yeah, I think it's a must pick up. Like over some of these fringe options, it's tough because I would never thought I would be calling Michael Pittman a fringe option, and he has enough like name value. It's just if you start, the question I have, especially when you have fringe players going into week 14.
Yeah,
if I wouldn't start you this week and you're coming off the bye, if you had a game where you scored a mid game, if you had 10, would I start you in 15? And that's 3 straight weeks now. If the answer is no, that's 3 straight weeks. You're holding a player for no reason. I want players I could start. And unfortunately, it feels like Michael Pittman is one of those players who, it starts to look good for him, but he's been so bad as of late. I'm expecting more of the bad than the good.